5 is the afternoon time talk on the block. If you ask me what's hot on Talk on the Block, I will tell you it's still the Panama Papers. Everybody's asking the question in the city, are you going to Panama? That's the new slang. Panama Papers is the largest ever release of secret offshore companies and the people behind them. The 11 million documents were leaked from a Panamanian law firm, Mossack Fonseca. They show how the company has helped clients launder money, dodge sanctions, and evade tax. Show the myriad ways in which the rich can exploit secretive offshore tax regime. They have been connected to a staggering number of high-profile names from around the globe, with many in Dominica. This morning, I had a conversation with the opposition leader on the very subject.
Yeah, well, Matt, first of all, I just want to make the observation for broad public education that these Panama Papers, so-called, are about politicians, crooked politicians. They're about criminals, and they're about the rogue industry that helps these crooked politicians and criminals to hide the cash in most part that they have illicitly accumulated. You see the point I'm making, Matt?
Yeah.
It's important for us to set that as the perspective. These are records from a law firm which over the years has been heavily involved in setting up these offshore companies as part of the rogue industry that helps the criminals and the politicians to hide the cash. Mossack Fonseca, these are Mossack Fonseca's records. The how many million records that the International Institute of Journalists is now in possession of and has released as of. And what we are seeing in Dominica is a number of persons connected or involved with these companies that hide money. We have said for a long time that the passport revenues of Dominica have not been properly accounted for, going back to the days of Layu. What do we see now? We see passport companies that came out of the Layu River economic citizenship experiment, that scandal that happened to us down there. We see these companies now surfacing. We see names of persons who are obviously fronting for the bigger players who were involved in swindling our passport money. And we now know where those passport millions have been hiding. We see modern day now, coming closer to these times now, names coming up. We see the name of Steve Isidore. We see Alec Lawrence involved with some businessman up in Kazakhstan who's close to the president, and something that the Swiss are very concerned about, all of these millions or billions that disappeared in or hidden in offshore accounts that a lawyer in Dominica appears to have facilitated with his work in the offshore industry. Matt, sit down and contemplate for a minute and ask Dominicans to do the same. The amount of things that we cannot do now because the government claims we don't have money. I can cite for you the case of the constituency that I represent, the Margot constituency. The hospital there that serves Crayfish River to Calabishi, in a state of disrepair for a long time, shut down for termite infestation not too long ago, and still not functioning as it used to function. The government claims monies were budgeted to fix it. We have not seen any real rehabilitation work taking place. There are promises of a new hospital. We have not seen that. All of these are just promises. We have the road network in Margot, especially those to the productive farming community that's around the Margot constituency. Roads needing attention. Nothing is happening because the government claims it doesn't have money. But you have all of these hundreds of millions of dollars, we presume, sitting down in hiding in foreign banks, stashed away there by a privileged few people connected to the government of Dominica. So, Matt, the people of Dominica now have to demand answers and have to go further than the demand of answers to say, we want our money back. There is no question that Dominica's tax dollars, Dominica's passport money, have been placed in the hands of crooked politicians, criminals, and have used the road industry, the road offshore industry, to hide that money away from Dominica in overseas bank accounts. And those who get offended can get offended if they wish, but that's the inescapable inference and conclusion that must be drawn from these Panama Papers and the names that are showing up. Let me also say, you've heard from family members this morning, the mother of Leon Royer, for example, who claims, while her address is in one of the records of the Panama Papers, she knows absolutely nothing about any offshore company. All she knows is that her son Leon used to work with Steve Isidore at one point in time, and Steve Isidore's name is there. There are other names associated with other people there, but this young man appears to know nothing about it, has no access to the monies that are obviously involved with this particular company, in whose name he's listed there, some shareholder or the other. So we need to get our hands on what is going on. Look at the case of Connie Manuel, a man who broke ranks with Steve Isidore some 5-6 years ago. But prior to that, Steve Isidore was using the law firm in which he was junior partner and the name of Connie Manuel to register offshore companies and to hide whatever he is hiding for individuals known and unknown. Mr. Emmanuel, do not forget, in 2011, sent me a copy of correspondence he sent to the Financial Intelligence Unit, the Financial Services Unit. It was copied to the Director of Public Prosecution. It was copied individually to every sitting member of the Integrity in Public Office Commission at the time, on Mr. Emmanuel's concern that money laundering was taking place with respect to certain payments that Steve Isidore had been making from the chambers on behalf of Roosevelt Skerritt. The records are there. Did you see them, Matt?
Yes, I heard about them and I saw them.
You saw the handwritten records where Steve Isidore was paying out money?
Making a lot of payments on behalf of the Prime Minister.
On behalf of the Prime Minister? You think the law enforcement had at any point in the last 5 years asked any question to Roosevelt Skerritt as to where these monies were coming from? As to how he became in control of those funds, which to this date cannot be explained by his legal income? The question becomes, how does a man like that with these kinds of connections continue to sit as Prime Minister of Dominica and nobody asks any questions. And people in the country, now specifically with respect to Point Michel, Scott said, Gallion, Soufriere, are being asked to vote for this gentleman's party again, notwithstanding all that is going on. The people are suffering. The people's children have no jobs. The people don't have decent social services. The roads are bad. The access to farms are bad all around Dominica. The marketing of their agricultural products is down. Have all gone somewhere else. Yet, the individuals who are responsible for fixing that and for making it good in the public interest of Dominica are the ones who are sitting on top, hidden millions and millions of Dominica's tax dollars and passport money sitting hidden away in foreign banks. It's a very important matter that the people, beginning in Gallion, Scott said, Soufriere, and Point Michel, have to consider carefully as they make a choice in this by-election. Because the by-election can achieve many things, but the most important thing it can achieve is a strengthening of the opposition in the interest of democracy, so that pressure continues to be brought to bear on those responsible for this poor governance record, of those responsible for our connections with the Panama Papers, for those responsible for the sacrificing of the majority for the corrupt interests of a few people in Dominica. Years ago, you had this constituency of Soufriere, Point Michel, Scott said, Gallion, standing with the Dominica Freedom Party for years and years and years, and then agreeing with the Freedom Party leadership in 2005, that they should give that support that they had given for years to the Freedom Party to the Dominica Labour Party. The people of the constituency agreed, and they did that. But the people of that constituency, I happen to believe, are very thoughtful people, and they take time to consider things and to make up their mind. And we have a few weeks in which to sit down with them and to talk with them one-on-one about these issues, and to ensure that they stand in defense of good governance for the Commonwealth of Dominica, to ensure that they stand in defense against the abuse of our children, to ensure that they stand for what is right for Dominica. And these Panama Papers, Matt, have opened our eyes like our eyes have never been opened before, because no longer are we talking about allegations that Lennox Linton has made, or Thompson Fontaine has made, or the United Workers' Party has made. We're talking about facts and truths discovered by international investigators. This is a global investigation, and released from the records of a law firm, part of that rogue industry that helps to hide illicit money around the world, the records of Mossack Fonseca. That is where we are. And that is how we have to determine how is it we move forward, starting with this by-election on the 7th of June. We're going to be having a meeting in Soufriere tonight. It's a very important meeting. We have to connect the dots. We have to present to people the challenge of moving from where we are, using this opportunity of the by-election in the Soufriere, Scott said, Gallion, Point Michel constituency. And so we'll be in Soufriere tonight. We'll be in Scott's Head tomorrow night. And for the next few weeks, we'll be fully engaged on the ground with the people of that constituency in particular, with the people of Dominica in general, because this constituency now gets the responsibility and the opportunity to point the way forward for the kind of governance we deserve and therefore must have in the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Another play with the opposition, and his comments on all that's going on, really, Panama. papers. Let's listen again to Mr. G.O.N. Emmanuel. His name appeared on the list. I wanted to find out why. Verify what's really going on there and why is his name on that list, on this Panama scandal. Mr. Emmanuel is on that list. G.O.N. Emmanuel, Gone Emmanuel. He's on the telephone with me this morning. Mr. Emmanuel, do you know anything about why your name is on that list?
No, I do not.
You know nothing about that.
No, I've never heard about Panama business and so on. I don't know about that.
So why do you think that your name is appearing there?
I want some mischief.
Is what?
Yes, mischief. Somebody was doing mischief. Somebody put my name on there. Somebody put my name on there. Said, that's from mischief, you know.
Did you remember your business or your law office getting involved in any investments in Panama?
No, I do not. Who? When? What time are we speaking about? What?
It seems a few years. I suspect maybe one lawyer may have been associated with your office, and his name seemed to be appearing time and time again.
What's his name is that?
Mr. Stephen Isidore.
Well, not me. Yeah, but that anything to do with that kind of business might be Isidore, not me. I don't know about that.
You know nothing about that.
I don't know at all about that. And let me tell you, let's check on the mechanics of the whole thing. What's been alleged there? What's been alleged?
What has been alleged that some millions, if you will,
millions
have been invested in a sort of an offshore company where people hide money. People hide things like if you're trying to evade taxes. That company is responsible for basically secretly engaging in those kind of investments.
Let me. If I bring this money, I could do this money right now. But no, I don't know about that at all.
You know nothing about that.
No, that is somebody has mischief put my name on it for some reason. I don't know.
Are you going to find out? Why?
Well, you can find out. You have my blessing. You find out. You take the money if you get it. You can take the money. I don't know.
But you never remember anything about investments.
Not investment in
Panama.
Panama.
For any client at all.
No, I wasn't in that kind of business. Saving money for people in Panama and so I don't know about that.
You don't know about that.
No.
All right.
Yeah, but as more details come out, check me again and find out. What is happening. Ask me and find out exactly what is going on, what's happening, Well,
as I said, a lot of investments, a lot of stolen money for, being hidden in Panama, tax evasion, all types of things are coming up right now, mister.
Yes, boy, yeah, but find out as much as you can. Let's nail the beast. Let us see what the whole thing is all about. I'm with you on that. I want to find out myself. I'm surprised that my name is on anything like that, but find out.
All right, we'll try to find out.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much,
yes.
Mr. Wanda 25, hello. We'll share with you another interview from this morning. Very interesting. Hello.
Yes, but I'd like to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Dominic have a lot of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Car dealerships, people with supermarkets, people with restaurants, people with hotels, Matt. Are any one of their names or their business on that Panama Canal him shit mad?
No, no, not what I see, no.
So only names that affiliated with that are poor people, children name, and people that belong in that's fronting for the Red Army.
Your name is not on that list, is it?
No, my name not on it, man. My name cannot be on it. I will not be fronting for anybody in the Red Army.
Hello.
Matt, we're talking on the block. Matt,
Talk on the block, my brother.
I heard a guy call this morning on the hot seat and say, oh, the people who claiming that they know nothing about that is maybe not speaking the truth. But this guy need to understand that when these companies have been registered overseas, the people don't actually go overseas. You have lawyers who, forward documents, FedEx stuff back and forth. And, that's their role to do those offshore transactions. But when you have crooked lawyers involved in that, then crooked lawyers will FedEx and fax stuff to Panama with signatures of people who are dead or people who was never in front of them in the first place because they are crooked lawyers. So this is how some people's name will end up on things that they don't know about.
That's what I'm very concerned about, the Bar Association in Dominica. Are they remaining mute on all of these issues, exposing, their colleagues and exposing their profession, if you understand what I mean?
Matt, I understand fully what you mean. Right now, there should be a full investigation into the police has enough information. They should be interested in that thing. They should be questioning the lawyers. They should be digging as much as everybody else is digging. But they will not, because the chief of police was strategically placed to push the agenda of one man, the man who think he run Dominica. But one day he'll be run out of Dominica. Just give him some more time.
Good afternoon. 1:28 is the afternoon time. Very, very interesting information. I want to find out if, police in other jurisdictions are investigating. I'll tell you in a minute. Hello.
Hi, Matt.
How you doing?
Not badly. Matt, there are some very recognized organizations in Dominica, like the Bar Association, the DAIC, the Dominica Employers Federation, the trade unions, Matt, the church councils, evangelical and Christian, and so many other organizations, Matt, that should be concerned about that thing, because some of them have been giving full support to the Prime Minister and his government over the years. Some of them have benefited personally, and I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the organizations. And with what is being said now, what is being said now, I would want to believe that they should be concerned, particularly Matt, the church councils, the evangelical and the Christian councils, because they are the ones who really tell us that we have to do good to go to heaven. And but it will be important to know exactly and to hear exactly what their thoughts,
what their take is on that.
What their take is on that, Matt. And you see, I think if my memory serves me right, there was an office, I think, that was mentioned. If I'm right, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. That is a building that housed the National Bank on Queen Mary Street. Was something like that mentioned, Matt?
Repeat again.
The building that housed the National Bank and Bank Francis on Queen Mary Street on Independence Street.
No, I don't remember that name being on the list then.
Mentioned?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'm sorry about that.
All right, thank you very much. Let's play you this. Yeah, you know a little more about what's going on with the Panama Papers, okay? You need to know as much as you can. It will share as much information with you.
Because there is so much going on behind the scenes here. not only in regards to the actual, perpetrators of the illegal money laundering, corruption, and tax evasion that this leak exposes, but also the fact that this leak was very much intentional. If you don't know what this is all about, basically, we have, in 2014, a large data dump from a law firm called Mossack Fonseca. Now, this law firm allegedly helps, large corporations and billionaires, etc., hide their money and avoid taxes and commit fraud, this, that, and the other. Some of the major, figureheads exposed in this leak are very well known, like the King of Saudi Arabia, like Jackie Chan. Yes, celebrities, politicians, associates of Vladimir Putin, people within the Chinese government, the Prime Minister of Iceland. Big names. One thing the mainstream media isn't telling you is that this is a massive psyop meant to be released, meant to be leaked. Okay? I'm going to prove that in this video. 100%. There is absolutely no doubting it at this point. If you look at the journalists who have been sifting through this data the past year, and the organizations they're connected to, we have the ICIJ, the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. This is the organization basically at the forefront of all of this, along with the Pulitzer Center on Crisis Reporting. Now, these two organizations, if you look at their donors, you have, really shady, sketchy groups, like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, okay? Like the Open Society Foundation. Really? The Open Society Foundation. Thanks, George Soros. Yeah. Okay, the Ford Foundation. Even the Rockefellers are connected to this, okay? The United Nations, right? Of course, if you look at the list of individuals who are implicated, people connected to Putin, Assad, even the Prime Minister of Iceland. A lot of rich, influential people, but you don't see any of these major Western figures being directly implicated at all in these leaks, being exposed at all in these leaks. Where's the Warren Buffetts? Where's the people connected to the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds? You don't see any of that. Okay? Because they're the ones responsible for releasing this. Now, you may be asking, well, what would the point of that be? Why are George Soros and the Open Society Foundation, the Rockefellers, the Ford Foundation, all of these people, by the way, who put Obama into power, helped fund Obama's campaign and all that here in the United States to become president, what would be the motive in this propaganda stunt? And by the way, just for the record, although it is a propaganda stunt, yeah, no doubt that this is all true, though, that these shady individuals exposed in the leak are definitely committing fraud and tax evasion. Yeah, the leak is true. It's all true, but it's all done by design. It was released for a reason.
All right. So here's a different perspective on this. This reporter is saying that there are a lot more people should be on that list. All true, but a lot more people, a lot more rich people should be on that list. More reports coming in.
Over the past 3 years, Syria's Air Force has rained death on more than 21,000 civilians. Their bodies ripped apart by exploding barrel bombs, missiles dropped on homes, businesses, bus stops, even hospitals. These war crimes have been well documented. Not so the part played by the shadowy world of offshore finance. Behind the scenes, companies using offshore tax havens were accused of supplying fuel to the Syrian Air Force. In 2014, multiple governments, including the UK and US, issued bans on doing business with these companies. But now, a new global investigation has revealed that a Panamanian firm helped these companies operate as attacks in Syria continued. That firm, Mossack Fonseca, is a key player in a sprawling, secretive industry that the world's rich and powerful use to hide assets and skirt rules by setting up front companies in far-flung jurisdictions. More than 300 journalists trawled through millions of leaked records from Mossack Fonseca to expose an alarming list of clients involved in bribery, arms deals, tax evasion, financial fraud, and drug trafficking. Behind the invoices, emails, and paper trails are real victims. In Russia, businessmen kidnapped orphan girls as young as 13, raped them, then sold them to others for sex.
After this rape, I was aching all over. I started very much fearing men. I felt as though they wanted only one thing, only sex with me. When I was taken into a foster home, I felt as though my foster father would rape me if I'm left alone with him.
One of the alleged ringleaders was a client of Mossack Fonseca's. When the firm discovered their client was a pedophile, they decided they were not legally obliged to report his offshore business activities to authorities. In Uganda, a company that wanted to sell a prospective oil field paid Mossack Fonseca to help it avoid $400 million in taxes. It was simple paperwork. The company's address was changed from one tax haven to another. In a country where 1 in 3 people live on less than $1.25 a day, $400 million represents more than the government's annual health budget. Uganda spent years in court trying to force the company to pay its taxes. Meanwhile, hospitals in the shadow of the oil field lacked funds for even the most basic equipment. Patients slept on floors. They were asked to bring their own medical supplies, like sterile gloves and cotton balls.
It was a surprise to me because I expected all this equipment to be at the health center. And all these things are not there. Nurses say we cannot work on you. At times, we are forced to leave and return home unattended to. Some women have lost their lives and babies.
Uganda ranks among the worst 10 countries in the world for high maternal, newborn and child mortality rates due to a lack of access to good healthcare. The offshore industry has recently come under fire for enabling dubious activities like these. But firms like Mossack Fonseca have helped clients continue to operate behind a veil of secrecy. Until this shadowy world is held accountable, international criminals will keep doing business, tax dollars will be dodged, and bombs will continue to fall.
All over the world, they are reporting, hello, this one video called the Panama Papers, Victims of Offshore. Hello. Caller, are you there? 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097. Hello, talk to me here.
Yes, good afternoon, Matt.
How you doing, my brother?
Oh, not too bad, Matt. You know, Matt, it was Honorable Edison James who said, nothing settled until it is settled right. I know, Matt, it have a lot of Dominicans who really celebrated after the Privy Council charged Honorable Lennox Linton. And I know for the longest while Lennox Linton was trying to educate us about what happened to our Dominican passport money. And I know I will live, Matt, one day to see that dream come true. I know Lennox Linton will be vindicated because he was telling us that long time ago. And even Angelo Allen, Matt, I believe should get one of the greatest awards in Dominica for really enlightening Dominica as to where our passport, well, he did not know exactly where the money was going, but he was telling us exactly where offices and what is happening with our passport money, because those passports were selling, but it never reaches the shore of Dominica. So one day in my lifetime, I will know exactly what was happening to our passport money, and I believe those people who was educating us as to how people were stealing our money and having us poor will come to light. And the Dominican people that was not believing, they will believe now, because these papers that is out is not Angelo Allen, is not Lennox Linton, is not Thompson Fountain. So I believe by now, those doubted Thomas will understand why we are so poor in this country.
Oh, caller, thank you very much. Hello.
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon. How are you doing, Matt?
How are you doing, sir?
Doing excellent, Matt. I'm just listening to what's going on in Dominica, Matt. And Matt, you know what I love to say to him is that Levi Peter would pull out some garbage out of his mouth, Matt. I mean, trying to intimidate people, Matt. But Matt, I'm urging the people of Dominica to remain relentless in pursuit of truth, Matt, and be fearless, Matt. Don't worry with Levi Peter when he talks nonsense, Matt. At the end of the day, we have to get rid of this roof of this corrupt criminal enterprise government, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you too. And we'll be talking to Thompson Fountain very soon. He's digging and describing it to me now on WhatsApp. Matt, this thing is huge as I'm digging further. 449309596 and 97. We're coming back after this one.
What do Lionel Messi, Jackie Chan, and the Prime Minister of Iceland have in common? They're just three of the names uncovered in the Panama Papers. Just the latest whistleblowing leak published by newspapers that include France's Le Monde. Like with Swiss Leaks and Lux Leaks, this story abounds with tales of elaborate wire transfers that keep cash in sunny destinations far from the taxman. The law firm at the heart of the scandal insists it's all legal. And that's the part that hurts. They may be right. When plutocrats and terror networks alike move money with such ease, why haven't loopholes closed? Do you go to war with tax havens near and far? Or does reform start at home? Since 2008, Western governments do trade more banking information. The United States even goes after institutions which launder money for the likes of Mexican drug cartels or those that break the embargo on Sudan's militias and Iran. But what about here in Europe? And why is so much money still moving under the radar? Today in the France 24 debate, washed ashore with us from Washington, Will Fitzgibbon of the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, the ICIJ. Many thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
His book, Metal Men, took him undercover into firms that hide their money offshore. Craig Kapitas, editor-at-large for TRT World. Thank you for being with us. And from London, Kingston University's Steve Keen, the author of Debunking Economics. Welcome back to the show. The France 24 debate, where you can join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter, our hashtag F24debate. Their documents compiled over 4 decades. The names include the likes of Argentina's president, the British Prime Minister's late father, the children of Pakistan's Prime Minister, and relatives of China's president. And it all started in Panama City. Josh Vardy has the story.
The Panama-based law firm at the center of the biggest information leak in history, Mossack Fonseca, administers so-called anonymous shell companies for clients which are based in offshore jurisdictions or tax havens. These places, such as the British Virgin Islands or the Bahamas or Panama, have low or non-existent transaction fees and high banking secrecy. Using offshore structures to hide money anonymously is completely legal and sometimes legitimate. However, by nature, the practice attracts those looking to hide money for more unsavory reasons. A dictator hoping to get round international sanctions, for example, or crooks looking to launder dirty profit. To set up a shell company, an intermediary is generally sought, a trusted individual, company or bank. They will arrange with a registered agent, in this case Mossack Fonseca, to create and administer the shell for a fee. While it will have a few people named as its executives, the shell company's only purpose is to discreetly manage the money it holds. Mossack Fonseca claims it complies with anti-money laundering laws and carries out due diligence on all its clients. Clients, according to the 11.5 million document leak, which include Vladimir Putin's best friend, 12 world leaders, and around 22 individuals subject to sanctions for their support of regimes in North Korea, Syria, Russia, and Zimbabwe.
Will Fitzgibbon, how long were you working on these documents?
We've been working at ICIJ along with many of our global partners, in some cases for up to a year. ICIJ received access to the information through Süddeutsche Zeitung, the German newspaper that received the leak. And then over the course of the year, we've been inviting partners over time until it grew to nearly 400 journalists working on the date of publication yesterday.
Now, Will, it's a bit daunting for us, and we don't have those 11.5 million documents. We had an angle in our sports bulletin, an angle in our business section, 3 different angles in our news bulletin. Where did you start?
It's a good question. I mean, our approach at ICIJ is that with this many documents, that's why no one journalist or no one newspaper can do it alone. And that, I think, is the beauty of this kind of new form of collaborative journalism, which means you can work with a partner from Uganda who can immediately search in the data for someone with a Ugandan passport or with a Kampala address, or our colleagues in Le Monde can immediately search for names or suggestions that in their mind might be of relevant public interest in France. And that's what global collaborations allow us to do.
You talk about public interest. For you, what is the one story that is the most significant?
For me, the story really of the most importance is not about any one individual or one scandal. I think really the story is about a system that is not meeting the expectations of governments and regulators and is not meeting the standards of the majority of the world's population, who have to live by rules that don't allow them to really, in many cases, write to a company and ask how they can form an offshore entity that will enable them to pay less tax.
This debate is continuing on the Panama Papers all around the world. We're going to come back after this.
From LuxLeaks that we saw last year.
The United Workers' Party, Team Dominica presents Higgs Adams for the Scott said Soufriere Gallo Point Michel by-election 2016. There will be a series of block meetings. Block meeting number 1 is today Wednesday at Sibuli Point Michel from 7 p.m. Block meeting number 2 tomorrow Thursday in the Soufriere Junction by the bus stop from 7 p.m. Higgs Adams, a community man. Higgs Adams, your technician. This constituency is not for sale. This time, Higgs time. Is Higgs we sin? Is Higgs we voting? Workers!
Need a bit of spice in your life? Are you longing for the most delicious jerk options? This and every Thursday is Jerk Day at Barana Breeze Bar and Grill at Dive Dominica from 12 p.m. Savory local jerk pork, succulent jerk local chicken, and finger-licking jerk fish tacos, served with 3 Creole sides, and of course, a PC cold red stripe bear or chill glass of Archipelago's wine selection. All this for only $40 inclusively. Get fired up this Thursday at Jerk Day at Dive Dominica's Barana Breeze Bar and Grill. And call 448-2188 to place your order or for more information. Or simply text your order to 276-4172 or 317-4322. Blast off. Extreme Auto Power Wash Detailing Services for a shiny, bright, good as new, sparkling, clean car. Visit Extreme Power Wash and really save on buffing, waxing, steam cleaning, engine degreasing, polished rims, and generalized servicing. services on 53 Cox Street. Open daily Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. till. Call 285-1964 or 614-5112. There is something sexy about getting your car washed at Extreme Auto Car and Detailing Services. We do it just how you like it.
Sunday, May 15th, right after Creole and Jazz, on roads lit to Prince Rupert Tavern at the Capri Pop-Up for Jazz After Party, presented by Prince Rupert Tavern, Heineken Beer. Come, immerse yourself to the music of C-Square, XP and Cornell. Entrance is absolutely free. The free Heineken promotion will be taking place live at the Jazz and Creole After Party. Prince Rupert Tavern at the Capri Pop-Up. It's the Jazz After Party. This event is sponsored by Heineken Beer. Open your world. Flow. This is how we flow. Prince Rupert Tavern at Cabrit's Portsmouth is the place to be. Right after Jazz and Creole. Don't miss. Sunday, May 15th, right after Creole and Jazz, on roads lit to Prince Rupert Tavern at the Capri Portsmouth for Jazz After Party, presented by Prince Rupert Tavern, Heineken Beer. Come, immerse yourself to the music of C-Square, XP and Cornell. Entrance is absolutely free. The free Heineken promotion will be taking place live at the Jazz and Creole After Party. Prince Rupert Tavern at the Capri Portsmouth. It's the Jazz After Party. This event is sponsored by Heineken Beer. Open your world. Flow. This is how we flow. Prince Rupert Tavern at Cabrit's Portsmouth is the place to be. Right after Jazz and Creole. Don't miss.
Somebody says here that maybe Mr. Levi Peters knew this was coming. That's why they're trying to pass new legislation. Is that true, Mr. Levi Peters? This morning we spoke to a mother, a concerned mother, about her son appearing on the list from Dominica. What's your son's name?
Leon Roy.
There's another Oja Roy. There's nothing to it?
His middle name is
Oja. Or what?
Leon Ojuroy and Leon Roy.
You seem very concerned about his name being on that list.
Man, this is a young man who used to work for a law firm. And today he hasn't got a job. He cannot pay his bills. And for him to be in that Panama business, it's very sad. And the worst thing about it, they use my address. You cannot use my address to do your own.
So you know nothing about that?
I can't know nothing about that. 3 years ago, somebody told me about my son have a business in the Middle East. I said, my son have a business in the Middle East. Yeah, my son gets me business in the Middle East. So they use his name and whatever they do, I don't know. But we're going to a lawyer, we'll get down to the bottom of this.
You seem very concerned.
I'm very, very concerned. And if anything happened to my son, I know who's responsible for him.
All right.
People just killing people and they're getting away.
Right.
So you have to be careful when you say things, because my son is my son.
True.
Whatever I have, I can give him, I'll help him out. But he cannot. Yesterday I said I'm a millionaire, you know.
Yesterday you said you're a millionaire.
Wow, I'm a millionaire.
You may become one.
I don't want it.
Oh boy. $156. Hello.
Matt, let me ask you a question, Matt.
Yes.
Matt, you know with Pedro investment, Matt?
If I know.
Pedro investment, I see there a Pedro investment, Matt. And apartment free and Bobois / Castle Comfort, Matt / Corp Toll, man.
You're doing a lot of your investigation. I suspect you have the names next to that.
Not slash Castle Comfort slash Bobois slash Corp Toll, man. But let me tell you that we're not taking that lightly, you know. My family name involved in it. Even if we get a lawyer to work pro bono for us,
yes,
we will go with it. Bye-bye.
Hello, talk to me here.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
I want to remind people that when they use those false names, that doesn't last for very long. Because remember when Angelo revealed some of that stuff, the company keep changing all the time. They shut it down.
My brother, this time you can't change it.
Matt, making it difficult to trace.
And not this time. Not.
Come up with a new one.
My friend, maybe Angelo himself was investigating this story, but this story there, over 3,000 journalists on this one. My brother, he can't hide. Can't hide. Sorry. Hello, talk to me.
Matt,
yes.
You heard what the lady said over 3 years ago. She heard about it.
What?
And then Tony Estefan coming out and tried to think that is you and whoever just bring it out.
Well, I can tell you can just go into Google. If you think it's me bringing it out, go into Google and just type in the Panama Papers. The reports are all over the world, not only on Kyrie FM. So if you think Tony Estefan is going to bluff people this time around, there's no way. All over the world, just type in Panama Papers and do your own investigation, my brother. This is the big story. Hello.
Matt, why is our Attorney General not interested? I cannot understand that. The Prime Minister of England and his opposition, they're both interested. Why would our little Attorney General not be interested? I cannot understand that. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello, talk to me. Yes?
Yeah, hello, Matt. What I find strange is the lady who just talked a while ago. I find, well, after 3 years, why after 3 years she's coming out? Is it because...
3 years ago, she was not concerned about that. Her son was not employed. She was not aware of what was going on. She just dismissed this. As you know, because she thinks somebody came and tell her a bad false story. She just dismissed it. Oh, that's what it is. And right now, her son is not employed with that lawyer. Hello. Yes.
How are you, my brother?
You have 1 minute, sir.
Okay. Basically, Matt, when the guilty verdict was delivered on Lennox Linton by the Privy Council, Matt, in connection with the defamation case of Peanut Burn, remember?
Yes, the Lyo case.
I stated publicly that although I respected the decision by the Privy Council, I disagreed with it because the verdict did not reflect basically the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law as articulated by Lord Denning to us in England in the 70s. You know, that was very well articulated. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the greatest juries of all time. And he was saying to most of the courts, you must take the spirit of law into account. Now, in light of the revelations by the Panama Papers, Matt, where we are told that most of our passport money have ended up in the crooked banks in Panama, would the Privy Council be now prepared to reverse their decision, Matt, and pronounce a not guilty verdict on Lennox Linton and throw out the appeal by Irishman Peanut Burn? I think that is worth asking the Privy Council for, man. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm listening. We're going to go over to the Digicel hour. There's